In the orchard today, doing some cleanup work, fire blight control mainly. Big work day today. Yesterday was an even bigger work day. This happens to be a gold rush tree that had a little bit of fire blight in it last year. Gold rush is mildly susceptible to fire blight. Yes, and there you can see a very bad canker on this tree. I'm not really going after these just yet. It will be pruned out before spring. What I'm doing right now is removal of entire trees, and you can see this black here on the main trunk, and that's fire blight associated. If it's in the bark, I'm not sure. I think it's largely where the fire blight ooze runs down the bark, and then you get there's a fungus I think grows on that. But gold rush is going to need to be trimmed up, but I think it's okay as far as the central leader and the rootstock. And gold rush is moderately susceptible, so it's going to see some fire blight. Hopefully it doesn't go in too deep. This is Kid's Orange Red. Now, Kids made some fruit this year. The deer got most of them, but it had a pretty good load of fruit, and so I'm optimistic that Kid's Orange Red is a fire blight resistant tree. It seems to be, and being in the same bloodline with Gala, that kind of surprises me. Here you can see, where are we? Yeah, right there, fire blight in this kid, so we'll cut that all out. Maybe even take out that entire branch. I've got plenty down there. So a tree like this certainly don't need to be taken out all the way. We're just cutting out the blight, going over every inch of that tree. This is a Grimes Golden on 111. Now this would be an example of a tree I'm probably going to cut out and regraft. I've got other Grimes Goldens. There's fire blight on that stem. This entire branch is dead from there out. It's girdled it. There's fire blight. Look underneath your branches, because looking on top you wouldn't even notice this, but there is fire blight right there in this tree. And so it would have very poor form if I tried to cut that all out and leave the good branches, which I may do, but I'm probably going to end up just cutting it off down low and putting in a bark graft on that. Maybe even put it into Kids, which is right beside it. Now here is where the Gala tree was. As you can see, Gala is gone. Luke and I picked apples off of this tree when he was a younger boy, and well, Gala was just an absolutely fire blight ridden mess, and it was exterminated from the orchard. And sorry to say, but good riddance to that tree. We're largely starting over here in the front part, and you can see up here we are sending lots of fire blight bacteria to the ever after. I don't know that there would ever be a good use for the fire blight bacteria. I don't think it's going to cure cancer, and so I would just soon be rid of it forever. It's a nasty, nasty disease. I'll show you the... Oh, I've cut down probably 10 trees in the last 2 days. Some of them crab apples. I will no longer tend to crab apple unless it's got a good apple graft on it growing. This was another tree cut, gone. It was a Royal Gala, and it's funny how some of these trees just absolutely melted down with the fire blight bacteria last year. Just melted. The tall spindle is a wreck. This is not how you want your tall spindle trees to look after 3 years. Luckily I've got some trees here, but going down the row, I cut out Boss Coop here on the end. It's gone. 3 Newtown Pippins, gone. That one's completely out. These 2 regrew a shoot from the rootstock. I'll regraft those to something else in the spring. Haven't decided yet. Honeycrisp was a surprise. Honeycrisp was not largely infected by fire blight. I cut plenty of it out, but as far as the central leader and the older wood on the scaffolds goes, good shape on Honeycrisp. I was just pleased with these trees. Now I lost the leader out of this one. You can see I cut it off And well, that's probably worth discussing here. Some of these places I cut out fire blight. Let me find a good one. I cut out fire blight, threw some copper on there, mixed it up. I actually went into the wood with the knife, cut around the canker, all clean wood on all sides, sort of like removing a cancer, and cleaned it up, good margins on all sides. And then I took copper, put in the wound to kill any overwintering bacteria, and then put a pruning sealer on there. So in the spring, this tree, everything starts to warm up. If there's any bacteria in there that starts to ooze, first thing it's going to see in the spring is going to be some copper underneath there, and that'll be the end of that, I hope. But these were Crimson Crisp, and they were hit much harder than the Honey Crisp. But still, I've got them cleaned up. There is no fire blight left on these little trees, and some of it's really small and it's tough to find, so I'm not taking any chances. These three, this was a palm grist, gone, melted down, and Sweet 16's gone, melted down. John of Golds, if you were to ask someone that knew what they were doing, they would say cut these trees to the ground and start over. I'm not going to do that. I've got some scaffold branches, I've got fruit buds. This tree's going to come back with a lot of vegetative vigor this spring, and I'm going to let it, and we're going to see what happens. I had to take out every scaffold along the central leader. We should get more to replace them. Hopefully we'll get some weaker shoots that I can use, and then remove some of the stronger growth, but these trees were hit hard with fire blight. Ginger Gold, melted. John and Mac had fire blight, and I had to cut it back.